Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are back. It's Jill and Mariah. I am studying to be a functional nutrition practitioner, and Mariah is a functional nutrition practitioner, although I've kind of come up with my own title for you, and I don't know if you can go or rock this, but I would call you an intuitive nutritionist. I don't know if that is how you identify, or an intuitive functional nutritionist. I don't know. But when I think of you, I think that intuition is just such a huge part of what it is you do and how you help people. And you know so much about nutrition. So that's how I wrap my head around you. You can you can either like that or not, and I'll stop. But the point in being together today is, I've been very reluctant to share information right now because there seems like this irrational mass hysteria going on that is not pragmatic, and the pragmatic engineering kind of part of my brain is very confused by all of this toilet paper hoarding and social media frantic information sharing. And so I kind of just wanted to take a step back and take a step away from that, kind of process it, because this is how I process information, and then be able to lean into it in a very practical, rational, and kind of give you some actionable things that you can do that will actually help move forward. So Mariah and I were talking, and we're kind of thinking about the things that we're seeing right now and ways that we can help you just stay healthy and move through this with ease, positivity, and to come out better on the other side. Because you know that who I am is always let's look at our situation, let's assess where we're at, and what is it going to take for us to end better than we started. That's the whole premise of our Be Well group and of kind of my journey right now. And so I wanted to bring Mariah into this because our perspectives are in alignment, and yet they're both very unique. So I wanted to first bring up something that's been troubling me. And Mariah, I definitely want your insight on this. But as I'm seeing all of these Clorox wipes and Lysol and all of these disinfectants being purchased and used and so forth, I'm kind of concerned, because what I know to be true is that our microbes, our bacteria, are essentially our defense system. And in killing all of it, it's kind of like we're invading our entire environments with antibiotics. And what that is doing then is compromising our ability and our body's ability to find homeostasis and to be supported when we are exposed to pathogens. So that was one big concern that I had. And then I have some remedies and some answers. But before we go there, can we talk a little bit about some concerns that we have about the utilization and the overutilization of these essential environmental antibiotics?
Yeah, and it's a really great point, because on one hand, we need these disinfectants to protect us, but on the other hand, a lot of people who are sensitive and have asthma, these can exacerbate our symptoms, which are the exact symptoms we are trying to avoid, right? And so it really is this fine balance. So in my home, I am not using Clorox wipes. I am not using bleach. I'm still using my regular cleaning supplies that I have, that I know to be disinfectants, that I know to be safe. However, if those are not what you have in your home and you're still using all these Clorox wipes and things like that, open your windows. You've got to get some fresh air in there, and you can use them and have the supports to support your body, right? So your immune system is 80% in your gut. So making sure you're taking a probiotic, maybe you take a prebiotic, you drink plenty of water, you're avoiding all the things that feed that gut dysbiosis, so the high carbs and things like that. Because I think if we feed into the fear of, oh my God, these Clorox wipes are going to kill me, or they're going to give me asthma, you are inadvertently, again, activating the sympathetic nervous system, and that automatically depresses the immune system. And so we really need to stay very level-headed about this whole situation, which is extremely difficult because you may have lost your income. You may, have an elderly parent. You may have children. You may, all these pieces. And so I think coming at it from a place is I'm going to do the very best I can. And maybe I have to use Clorox, and maybe I have to use this. Like, I've used soap that like I would have never used in the past. Like, I smell like a fucking floral, like, nightmare. And you smell for like, I swear to God, it's hours. I smell like these synthetic fragrances on my hands, and I'm not used to using them. So I'm more sensitive to them. But yes, I'm using them because at this point, that is more important to me, not passing on this virus than the effects of these synthetics. And so I think it's finding that balance. But I know when this all flattens out, I'm not going to use those again. And I'm going to, pass up using, the crazy, fancy, horrific, hand washes and things like that. But right now it's important. But I'm just also then encouraging, like, we're opening windows, we're getting fresh air outside, and we're taking all of the supports we know that support our body, because you've got to have that balance. And it comes down to, for me, staying out of fear. And that's truly going to keep you healthiest.
Yeah. And I think staying out of fear, there's a couple different things. I mean, some of the response I see people saying that I refuse to be fearful, and then they're putting themselves and then therefore other people potentially in compromised positions by continuing to go out to restaurants and so forth where these things aren't restricted. So I think staying out of fear is, it's definitely subjective, but it's also using like some common sense practice, right? And the other thing that I wanted to kind of just break down for people, and by now I feel like most people probably already know this. If you already know this, it's fine. The fear isn't the severity of the sickness, right? Like, most people are like, oh, it's like a bad case of the flu, and, most of us are going to be fine. And that's the reality, is if you end up getting this, you're probably going to be okay. That's not the concern. The concern is we're trying to minimize exposure so that we don't inundate our medical facilities that aren't necessarily prepared for this massive influx of people. And so if you stop and just think about it, for me anyway, if I just stop and think about that from a rational perspective, then I just say, oh, okay, well, that's why we're at home. We're not at home because we're scared and it's going to like seep in under our door and like come get us like the boogeyman. It's just because that is the simplest way to control the spread so that we don't inundate facilities, so that we're not taking like medical help away from people who actually need it, like chemo patients and so on and so forth. And people who are having babies, they're still going to have babies. Like, we need to let them be able to do that, right? So this is us coming together. And I think if we look at it as an opportunity to kind of slow down and take a step back, I think that we'll find that we aren't sitting with as much fear. At least that's where I'm at. So I don't know what your thoughts are as far as that.
And when I say stay out of fear, I don't mean go out to your local grocery store and bar and X, Y, and Z. That's not what I mean. What I mean is the fear inside your body. So, allowing the fact that in my area, like, toilet paper is like hard to come by. It's mind blowing, right? And so, like, staying out of the fear of like lack, and I'm not going to have enough, and this is going to last forever, and my children are never going to go back to school. Like, that's the fear I'm talking about staying out of. And so, like, right now my children aren't at school for, the foreseeable future. And like, I am not a stay-at-home mom. Like, I do not thrive in this environment. That, like, I immediately went into fear when they were like, we're canceling school. I'm like, oh my sweet Jesus. And then they want us to do lesson plans on top of that. I'm like, and I have teaching degrees. I'm a teacher. Like, and that throws me into fear, right? And so really the message is like, this is the earth giving us time to prioritize. And it's the earth and the universe giving us time to find what's important. And that's what 2020 is all about. This energy is big and it's huge, and it's forcing us to really dig deep and find what's important. So like Monday was supposed to be a school day, and there were I had no idea there were lessons and whatever. We didn't do it. We spent the day playing and building forts, and truly, like, I shut down all social media because that was feeding into my anxiety. Like, how long am I going to be at home? Like, am I going to be able to do this or X, Y, and Z? And so really just diving deep and looking inward, like decluttering your home, like really journaling and, doing all the things. Like, these are the things that this time is meant for. Like, it's all connected. And if you look at the big picture and you look at things like, the earthquakes that just happened, or, how administration's acting, or you look at like there are so many examples, like it's all connected, and we're getting a very strong and clear message that what we're doing isn't working, and we need to up level ourselves, and we need to change starting from the inside. Like, we chose to be here during this crazy time of transition and uncertainty. And so really leaning into that and being like, yeah, I'm fucking strong enough to do this. Like, hell yeah. Like, I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to take my probiotics. Yeah. I'm going to, stay out of fear. And one of the tools I'm using to help stay out of fear is what I'm calling gratitude dumping. It's like taking gratitude journaling to the next level, because we know that gratitude changes the way the brain is wired. And if you can change the way your brain is wired, you change the way you think, you change your perspective, you become stronger in all of that. Neuroplasticity, it's so important. And so I'm taking like a huge goal, like a full paper on my notebook, and I need 3 columns of things I'm grateful for in this moment. It's hard. It's really hard. But what it does is it forces you to change your perspective. And so I'm doing it before I go to bed, so I don't take any fear with me to bed. And I'm finding that to be more helpful than taking my probiotics and my vitamin A and my vitamin C and all those things. Because if we are in a state of stress, our immune system, it's not working. It's not going to work, and it leaves you more susceptible. And so a lot of the work I'm doing, especially with clients and in my house, is like, it's the internal emotional work. Like, yes, you can do all the physical stuff, but unless you're like digging deep, it's not going to matter.
Well, I think that's super interesting with the gratitude dumping, because clearly I am naturally gravitating towards that, because when I anticipated the kids weren't going to be going back to school for a while, because I mean, I've kind of seen this coming, right? I kind of expected this. So I went to the bookstore and I loaded up for the kids and for myself. And I got something called Burn After Writing, which I've got it somewhere over here.
It sounds lovely.
Yeah. And so you just kind of like, it asks you all these cool questions. I don't know. It was in my bag. The kids probably took it out. But so I bought myself that, and then I bought myself a blank journal, because I was an avid journaler from childhood, like just naturally, I just needed a place to vent and dump. And then I was just kind of feeling like I have enough books to read. How am I going to decipher and process information right now? So I love that you say that, because I haven't started that, and now I will, because that's clearly intuitively where I knew I needed to go.
I want to add, if you're feeling a little bit of fear and anxiety and you write about it in your journal, burn it afterward. Take it out back and burn it. And there's something so satisfying about burning it, and it just like releases it from your reality almost. So take it to the next level and burn it.
Well, that's why I bought the Burn After Writing, because it of course it asks these crazy questions like, 4 things you've tried once that you never need to do again. I'm not going to tell you the first thing that came to my head, because that would end me. But so I've found that I haven't had, once I did that process that I was telling you about, where I kind of took a step back, that's just how my brain works. Everybody needs to find their own version of that, right? And we can give them tools to help. So one of the things that I'm doing, because I'm the same as you, I am not a homeschooling mom. I am not an effective stay-at-home mom. That's why I taught college, was because I didn't want to teach anybody younger than 18. And clearly my kids, and they're my kids. So even if they were 18, I still wouldn't want to teach them, because they're my own. So what we're doing, I kind of, for lack of better words, lost my shit last night. Like, I lost my shit on my kids, because we're all kind of cooped up in the house, and we're cooped up in the house for a lot of time, even though we're still outside a ton and so forth. We're still cooped up more than we usually are. And I find that I'm like picking up banana peels and picking up orange peels, and like people are leaving their glasses everywhere. And My 5-year-old peed all over the toilet and then didn't tell me. And then it was just pee everywhere. And I just lost it. And I wasn't screaming at them, but I was just defeated. And I was just like, are you guys for real? Do you think I am your servant? And I mean, they're just eating dinner and just like falling apart because I actually want to sit down and enjoy my meal with them, but I can't because I'm cleaning up pee everywhere and there's not even a place for me to sit because they've shoved all their stuff. So what I realized in that falling apart, because I'm super type A, right? Like everybody who knows me knows I'm pretty type A. I need a schedule because we're used to on the weekdays waking up pretty much at a certain time and we have like our routine and how we do breakfast and then go to school and then what I do after. And so the anxiety for me comes from not having a routine. So all of a sudden my kids are in their pajamas at 4:00 and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? We went on a bike ride and you couldn't even put your clothes on? Like what, like, come on. We still have to like function like humans. We got to shower at least a couple times a week. Come on, people. So what I've decided to do is put together a schedule with a reward system, right? Because my kids are also watching way more television than they're used to. My kids if they watch TV in a day, it's about 30 minutes and they get like screen time in front of a tablet, 30 minutes on Saturday and 30 minutes on Sunday. We're very, very strict with screen time in our house. And they're like going cuckoo because I don't know how many like games of Jenga we can play. So I've decided to come up with not a super rigid schedule, but a schedule. And they all have a list of the things that they need to accomplish and by when. And it includes reading and writing a short paragraph about what they read and doing their chores. And we have to have a recreational activity. So today they knew what the expectation was when they woke up, that they were to do X, Y, and Z, and that I was going to be doing this so that they would be able to watch The Greatest Showman while I was doing this. And then we will have lunch and then we will go for a bike ride for at least an hour. And then they know what that looks like. And everything has been much, much calmer because I'm calmer. And I set the tone of the house. Believe it or not, we hate to own that. We love to yell at our kids or point fingers. And then I don't think we love it, but we love just displacing that energy and pointing fingers and saying, you're doing this and you're not doing this. When really, what is it that we are doing or not doing to set the tone? And so I give you that candid example, and maybe you're not type A, and I don't need to have so I'm not overly type A. I don't need to have like a written, like it has to be exactly like that by the minute, but we have to have some type of loose structure. I need it because if not, I get an intense amount of anxiety, and then that just perpetuates a situation because we're all sitting in the unknown. And historically, the unknown is a place that just perpetuates anxiety. So if I can have a situation where I wake up and there's something that's known and it's a calmer tone and the kids have expectations and predictability, we all feel calmer, and then we are ultimately supporting our health. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I totally agree. And I posted about this on my personal page, and it really comes down to focusing on the self, like putting your oxygen mask on first. And that's like the best thing you can do. Like we haven't looked at any schoolwork, and I don't plan to today. We will on Thursday, totally. And that's my expectation. But I know I had a couple of work things I needed to do. Like this is all new. Like my girl, like no routine does not fly well with my children at all. Like I'm like, whatever, like in your PJs all day, I don't care. Like I literally brought my youngest, who's 2. We have gone to my grandmother's and my mother's. Those are the 2 places I've allowed my children to go. I brought her today. She didn't have pants on, no pants. And like, that's just the mom I am. Like I'm very go with the flow, like whatever. But my children, my oldest is not. She needs like an outline. And so there is finding that balance. But I know I have to put my oxygen mask on first. So, for me, that's been shutting down social media, making sure I'm caught up on laundry, like journaling and meditating and getting outside and like signing off. Like when Kev gets home, like it's been like, hey, I need a minute. Like you need to take over. And so that's super important, but that is why we are here in this spot, is to prioritize ourselves and figure out what is important. And so by shaking up everything, you're really left with like, oh, like what is left, right? And so really finding that what's important. And so I think it's helpful for everyone, children included, to show them that it's okay to put yourself first, and that's not selfish, and that's not, big-headed, or whatever words you want to use. Like when you truly take care of yourself, and I hate being like, yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup, but it's so true. You have to take care of yourself, especially in these situations that are hard and they're scary. And you do have 2 or 3 sets of eyes looking at you all the time to be a role model. Super important. And it's okay to say, hey, I don't know. We need to take a beat. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll get back to you. Like, and by saying that and responding and not reacting is really important. And I think right now in our homes and in society, we need to respond and not react. And we need to take that extra minute and we need to say, hey, what can I do to serve myself and others in the best and highest possible way? And if that means we do schoolwork or we don't do schoolwork, hey, whatever. You know what I mean? If we watch a movie at 4:00, which I don't recommend a nap at 4:00, which screwed our whole night. You do it, right? We're surviving, but it's important we survive at a level that is beyond barbaric, right? Mm-hmm. And we have some fail safes, which, it's okay if we watch TV or we kick the kids outside. Like, it's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to give 3 things that people need to be doing that they should explore doing to help them stay healthy and get through this time of uncertainty, what would they be?
Yeah, so the first one would be to drink water, and drink more water than you're used to, and add a little sea salt. And so the reason I say water is, number one, we're all chronically dehydrated. It's the world we live in, unfortunately. But from an energetic perspective, the intuitive side of me is going to come out. We're being asked to up-level our vibration. And whenever you go through an energetic shift, you need water. Otherwise, you feel like you got hit by a freight train. And so water will help us transition in this time much easier. So we're electrical beings, and electricity needs water to flow through. And, if you get down into the science of this, like we're all atoms and X, Y, and Z and all of that, like it all requires electricity, and we need water to conduct that, right? So making sure you have enough water and you have enough electrolytes. I've actually started using like a trace minerals thing in my water. Never done it before. We have a great water filter system, but here I am drinking all the water using my minerals. So that would be my first thing. My second thing would be the gratitude dumping and finding gratitude and really pausing for that. Super important. People like poo-poo gratitude journals and they're like, but it works and it matters. And if you can start your day and end your day with it, it has amazing repercussions. And there's science that shows that gratitude journaling in the morning is better and has a more longer lasting impact. But if you can only journal at night, like I tend to do it at night, like so be it. I sit with my candle on and I sit in bed and I journal, and that's what's really working for me, and it's grounding me and allowing me to help sleep. So I think my third thing would be finding those routines that do work for you. So like for me, I finish my night with, I've been lighting a candle and I've been gratitude journaling and I've been listening to a guided meditation, and I have like it's a tincture that helps me sleep or whatnot, some herbs and things. And so I don't normally do that, and I don't normally light a candle and get fancy. But for me, it's like flipping the switch to be like, okay, like at the end of the day, I have a warm bed, we have water, there's food in the fridge, like the toilet paper doesn't matter, right? And so I think really setting up some routines that establish calm and that trigger your body to be like, oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Even if you just lay with your legs up the wall. So when you put your legs up against the wall, you force your body into a parasympathetic state, because you cannot fight and you cannot run with your legs up above your heart, right? And so if you need to force yourself into a parasympathetic state by lifting your legs up on a wall, lay like that for 10 minutes. Like if that's how you end your night, so be it. I think you need to really find those tools to lower the cortisol and lower the stress. so that you can remain healthy. Even if there's no chance of you being exposed. You're going to make yourself sick in other ways if you don't lower your stress levels.
I love those. It's funny that you say that about the legs up against the wall, because when I was a child, that's how I slept. And countless pictures of me. I would be, put to bed like a normal child, and then I would turn around with my bum up against the wall, my legs up. And that's how I slept for probably 2 years of my life. And interestingly, it was right about the time my parents got divorced. So our bodies intuitively know what we need if we allow it to go there, right? When you're a kid, you don't really have the same filters you do when you're an adult. Now, to add on to your 3 things, I would definitely say yes, for sure, on the water. What I also find it's super important for me is I'm like this crazy ball of energy, and being cooped up, and Jay's gone, like he is working out in the field, camping by himself. So he gets to escape this in that way. But that gives him anxiety because I'm here solo. So like we're all, kind of passing around this anxiety. I have to move my body. If I do not move my body, I kind of lose my shit. So I reached out to a friend who's a professional trainer, and I asked her to give me some workouts. I've asked some other friends to give me some workouts that I can actually do in the house because I can't go to the gym. And then I'm also getting outside every day. So I feel like it's extremely important to move your body and to actually be outside. We need the vitamin D. We need our pineal gland needs the actual sunlight to enter it so that we do not fall in weird places with our sleep pattern. So that actually directly ties into my next thing is ensure good amounts of sleep. Water will help that. And nourishing foods will help that. And not staying up on your phone all like late at the night. The blue screen is terrible for your sleep. It actually interferes with your pineal gland and your ability to release melatonin. And so you don't want to be staring at it. If nothing else, shift it to when it turns to black in the evening. There's some setting, if you have an iPhone on there, I'm sure that an Android has the same. But so my 3 would definitely be increased water and mineral intake with sea salt, along with nourishing foods, which hopefully I'm giving you some information on that in the Be Well group. Move your body, and including get outside, which will help with your sleep as well. And then minimize your screen time. We don't need, are you really going to look back on this time where we get the opportunity to slow down and to take a step back in our lives? We are being forced to slow down, you guys. Embrace this. That's freaking awesome. In my lifetime, we've never been forced to be this slow. Everything moves at lightning speed. Are you going to look back on this opportunity and say, I wish I would have spent more time on social media? I highly doubt it. No. You're going to say, I wish I would have, fill in the blank. So maybe in your gratitude journal, you can say, if I could do anything, it would look like this. Or if I had all the time in the world, I would be doing this, right? We have time right now, so embrace it. Any parting words, Mariah?
No, I think you just really need to listen to your body. Like, this is the time to tune in and listen, and trust yourself, and not go into that, not allow that fear into your body to take over.
All right. I love it. Well, thanks again for listening, and we will be back. I anticipate next week with new information. And I did get some feedback about some subjects that we should talk about. I just felt like because of where we're at, we should probably address this. But please give us some more guidance. We'd be glad to address your concerns. So have a good week, everyone. Thanks, Mariah.